Hi, let's quickly start our contact page, our last page, and I hope you are enjoying this series so far. So I've kept this for the end because of this form, and I wanted us to kind of play around it a little bit. Now we have our contact page here. So if you look through, we have our header, which is already dealt with. Then we have the contact section, we have the form section, then we have the message section. So this basically is going to look like what we had with our about page here. So as we could see with our prototype here, so it means we are going to use this section area as the flex container to arrange the form and then the message left and right. So let's go ahead. So we can target the form easily, and we can also target the div easily. So let's assign a class here, and we say contact section. So contact section. Then we can go in our star. This is our footer. Before our footer, we create this document contact page, right? So here we go, like contact section. What do we want to do first? We want to display flex to arrange the let connect side at the area at the right side, and then the form at the left side. So we go like display flex, and we check what we have. Yes, it does that. And would like to share them into let's say half. So first of all, let me say justify content to be space between, because I want the space, I want it to breathe. Okay, we will see the effect when once we divide them. So once we assign them some space to occupy. So the form, and then the div, so the immediate div. So the contact form, the contact section form, comma, that's, and the contact section with all the immediate divs. So it means if you have a div which has divs inside it, it won't apply to these inner divs, but the immediate, which means the direct children of the section area. So the direct children of the section tag. Yes, so that's what this means. So for this one, let's say we want to change the width. To be let's say 48%. Great. So that gives them this spacing around. So let me do something and see border. I want to see what they are. They look like 1 pixel solid and red. So I want to see clearly what position they occupy, and you can see that position. So now you can see that there's some space. We need to give some space inside to make it look to let it breathe. So let's go ahead and add a padding of 2 rem. Exactly. Remember, this padding of 2 rem, we are going to get these 2 plus this 2%. So kind of that's how I calculated it. 2 from one side, 2 from the other side. That's 4 rem to complete the 2% here. So that's why I kept it that way, and you can see now it tends to match well. It works fine, right? So but I'll get rid of the border. I've seen what I wanted to see. So the next thing is we have the email here, which is okay. Let's see. For the email, the only thing I think we could do there for that area, we'll just make the email look bold. So we'll rather put it in a strong table tag like that. Great. Then for the form, now it is time to style it properly. So for the form, first of all, I want to get rid of these BRs. I would want CSS to take care of this spacing, the beautification of the whole thing, I want it to be handled with CSS. So anything BR, I'll get rid of that. Good. Now the first thing I will do is to say, okay, yes, even these BRs have to be cleared, all of them. Good. Great. So now our form is broken. So first thing is to say, okay, all these labels, I want them to display as blocks. So it means after the label, the input should go to the next line. So we are like, we will now write, we'll take the section form again. Section form, then we'll target the labels. And we say now the labels should be displayed as block. If we refresh now, we can see they are forcing the inputs to go to the next line. Now, the next thing we'll also do is to have some space right under each input. So the form input should, that's under each input we want space. So we'll say margin bottom, let's say 1 rem. Great, and we have the space. And you can notice that we did not get that space right under the text box because the text box is not an input, it is rather a text area. So we need to also add the text area. So the input and the text area inside the form element text area. So if we do now, we should get it. Except it did not. Oh yes, it didn't because we did not add it here. It is not displayed as a block, so it is under the text area as well. So now it goes. So the next thing is on most websites you could see that the form inputs are nicer than this. So let's go ahead and target them. So we're going to say the text input. So the input and the text area, not only will give them the margin of 1 rem, we'll also kind of ask them to always occupy 100% of their container. So they are kind of elastic, 100%. That's the first thing. So the spread as the container goes. So the next thing we could do is to improve the fields spaces. So it's quite too tiny. So let's say I would like to increase the font inside, the font size. I'll make it 1.4 rem. So the text looks bigger inside. And the next thing is I will add some spacing around in the inner spaces of the field. So that's the padding. So the padding will be 0. Let's say 5 rem for the padding. Yes, so that gives us some space around. So when now the text can breathe. Great. So I would also like to target the label and make the labels capital as capital letters. So we don't have something special for the label. So we need to take the labels class, particularly like this. So like this, and say text decoration, no, text transform, uppercase. Here we go. So here we can also kind of like to make it font weight bold so that it looks really heavy. Great, and we are getting there. So same thing can be done for our button. So what I would like to do is I will start the button differently. So container form button, so start it differently. Button, I'm not making this up because it is actually called button, so that's why I'm targeting it as a button. So first of all, the border should be 0. Yes. There's something wrong here. Great. The button should be 0. The font size I'll keep the same as this, and the padding the same. But this time around, I will not only keep the padding, this padding, I will keep it just for the top and bottom padding, and then left and right I will make it to 1 rem. so that the button looks wider. Great. So the next thing I could do is, let me make the text bold, or let's say yes, let's make it bold so that it looks like the labels. So font weight bold. Great. So now we would like the button to look obvious. It's a bit dim. Let's assign it some background color, and this is our first background color we are writing in the whole project. So the background color, we are using tomato, so let's keep it tomato. Exactly. And it looks like the black on the tomato wouldn't look that much, so we change the color into white. And the white, the code for the white is hash FFF or FFF, so that's 6, and you can see it. So let me keep it white so that it doesn't get you confused. So white, and we get the same thing. So here we did not work with too much rounding except at the home page. So maybe let's try to round our fields. So the text input and then the text the input and the text area fields, let's give them a border of 1 pixel solid, and then let's keep it black, so we'll keep it 333, and then we'll round the border by using border radius to, let's say, 7 pixels. This one we don't want it to look like a pill, so simple like that. And the border seems to be too tiny. Let me make something heavy. Great, that looks really imposing. So we do the same thing for our button. So do the same thing for our button, but this time around, remember, we cancelled the border for the button, so we cannot add the border now. If you want, let's see what it looks like. Yeah, it's not that cool, so we can get rid of this border here. Great. So now what I would like to do is on the hover on the button, so I will say contact section form button hover. So rather the background color should be transparent, then the text color should be black, so make it black, that's 00, and then the border, now not the border radius, we can now bring this border back, so this border. So here we are, and let's see what it gives. Something happened. Contact section is a class. So here we are, and now you can see this jumping effect that happened here. So to fix it, like I said, we said here border should be 0. We could say, I think we use 2, so we write 2 pixels, simply like that. Should be fine. Oh no, it didn't. So border, let me see, border 2, okay, solid, and then transparent, and transparent. So let's see exactly now. This works well. Great. So it is lively now, and we are done with our contact page. So this is the end of our styling. This is the end of this whole work in building the website template. So at this point you have a template, but we are not quite done, because we have the icons to place. And also, if we look here, we have these icons here to place. So we have the social media icons to place, and I would also like to replace the font, the text font. So it kind of default here. We would like to look for some font and then replace this default font. And also the color, we have background color. Remember when we were designing, we tried to give a different color to the whole site. So for the fonts and then the stars and then the icons, I think I'll keep that for the next video. But for now, let's try to apply a color to the background. So to do that, we'll look for we'll target one of the highest tags. So in our case, the body tag is the highest here because that's what wraps the whole content of our website. So we can target it and say, okay, the body tag should have a background color of, let's say, antique white. Wonderful. This looks beautiful. So you see, it improves the beauty of our website by doing that. And you see, it applies all over the place. In fact, as we do that, you can see now that we kind of failed with our contact borders because the color doesn't really look great. So instead of us to have the border to be black for the contact form, so about contact, so here, instead of it to be black, let's use the tomato. It should be better. Or the too hard, but it looks harmonious with the color of the background. So the same way we use a color for the background, we could also use an image to play the role for the background. So here we are. So in our next video, we are going to try to play with the fonts, right? We're going to try to play with the font and bring in our icons, and that should mark the end of our design process. Thank you for staying tuned. Thank you for staying on it, for staying up to now. And please kindly consider sharing this video with your friends and families on your social media pages, Facebook, WhatsApp groups, and do not forget to leave a comment. If you have any questions, kindly ask. If you have the plan and the desire to have a tutorial or a particular lesson, leave it as a comment and we'll try to do our best and write it for you or make a video on it for you. Thank you so much and see you in the next video.